Let's have a look at part B now. So suppose that the firm operates for 2 periods. It can hire a worker at the beginning of the first period, and it can also replace the worker at the beginning of the second period. Now, which type of worker should the firm hire at the beginning of the first period if it wants to maximize profits? Well, let's see. Again, we're still dealing with probabilities, but we're dealing with probabilities for 2 periods. So let's calculate the expected revenues from the workers for these 2 periods. So we will have the expected revenue for a proven worker, Well, we know that a proven worker generates us 50 euros per period. So for 2 periods, it will generate us 2 times 50. 2 times 50 with a probability of 1. That's equal to 100 euros in expectations in revenue. Now, what would be the expected revenue from a risky worker? Expected revenue from a risky worker. Well, let's see. With the probability of 1 over 3, the worker can be profitable. It can generate us 150 euros for both periods. So this is the case where the worker is definitely good, right? The worker does a good job in both periods. So worker generates positive output in both periods. Now, let's see what happens with the remaining probability. With the remaining probability of 2 over 3, the worker can generate a loss of minus 30 euros, and that would be minus 30 euros in the first period. So this is loss in the first period. Now, because it is a loss in the first period and we can costlessly replace the worker at the beginning of the second period, well, because he made us a loss, why would we lose again? So replace. And we are replacing now with the alternative, which is the proven worker. So in the second period, what we're going to have is a 50 euros of positive output, because that is generated from the proven worker. So that's replace with proven worker, That's the idea. Now, what's going to be the math of all this? Well, if we solve this, that's going to give us an expected revenue of the risky worker equals to 113.3 euros. Now, with that in mind, we can see that the risky worker becomes more profitable. At least in expectation, by taking into account the probabilities, it's wiser for us to hire the risky worker, because maybe he will do a good job and generate us 150 in both periods. But we're taking the risk that he might also make us a loss. However, even though he makes us a loss, at least we can compensate that by replacing him with a proven worker, with a better worker. So we're kind of hedging, even though we're taking a risk. Hope this makes sense, and we are done.